Hello and how you doing, everybody? This is Alakai. Today I'm coming to you with another seminar from the Fred Hall 2020 show. This is going to be Bobby Martinez, one of my absolutely favorite seminar presenters. I saw him last year at the, I think it was Fishing for Spotted Bay Bass, Fishing for Bass. Him and his partner were there talking for owner, and for all those of you who've been watching my show, my videos for a long time, that's where I got my hat that I'm wearing in like 95% of my my videos. I'm wearing that that kind of that visor cap owner. They gave it to me last year. I just think it's really cool. But anyways, those guys are really neat and awesome, and they're so much fun to listen to. Bobby Martinez himself, very accomplished tournament fisherman, and he was talking about rock fishing. So this is actually the modern rock fishing methods with Bobby Martinez, and he gave this seminar at 5 o'clock on Thursday over to Daiwa Saltwater Tank. I think it's great. I love watching his stuff. I think he brings the latest and greatest pieces to you, coolest new products that he tries himself, and I think it's really cool. And this time I think that it's actually, he's presenting to you a new Daiwa rock fishing rig. But I think this is one that's actually been done a long time in Japan, called the Inchiku rig. But it's Daiwa's take on it, so maybe it's just them bringing it over here and presenting it with a different flair to it or something to it. So give it a watch. Let me know what you think. Please go ahead and comment below. Like, subscribe, bell icon. You guys know the drill. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon. And you enjoy the seminars, let me know, because I try to video as many as I can, just to kind of, so that they're out there, just so that people kind of get the information, that who can't necessarily go to the shows or go to the locations that they're having these things. I like to try to record seminars and making sure people kind of get that information, so you all aren't left out. Thank you all. Talk to you soon.
And you know, we'll cover that in a minute. The last 10 years I've been fishing saltwater bass tournaments. Just because I fished party boats for so long, I wanted to challenge myself. I switched over to fishing bass tournaments. I've been doing that for 10 years. And what I ended up doing on my off season is I transitioned some of the techniques from bass fishing into rock fishing. I'm having more fun. I'm catching bigger fish. I'm fishing areas that I used to fish as a kid, and I'm catching bigger fish with just lures that I think most people will never use. And we'll discuss that in a minute. Right now, just by changing my mindset on just fishing in general, I've from like doing very poor in tournaments. We got Angler of the Year in 2017 in saltwater bass anglers, saltwater bass series in 2018, just by doing some different stuff, different techniques. So I took out a friend of mine that works for Daiwa, and he brought this lure back from Japan. He paid out of his own money $20, came back, he fished it for a whole year with me, and he caught anything from calico bass to white sea bass, all the rockfish you want, lingcod. And the year after, he said, hey, we're thinking of bringing this into Daiwa. I'm like, are you serious? I thought it was just like a fun thing, a fluke thing. We fished it the year after, and it was phenomenal. And it's called a Rock Rover, and they've been using this in Australia and Japan for like over 20 years. There's basically two different ways to rig it or to tie. All you're doing is tying it from a different point. So one of them is from the tip, and the other one's from like the middle of the top. And what that does is, one of them is made for straight winding, the other one is for more of a jerky action. Same bait, just two different points to tie from, and it does totally different of an action. So as we fished it, we really didn't know exactly what we were doing. We did find out that this way was the best way to fish it. Tying it right from this tip, and what you do is a slow retreat. It doesn't matter if you're fishing on a sport boat or a private boat. The slow retrieve method worked the best for us. And all you do is you usually drop it down and you wind it back. You want to do about 10 cranks. You know, take 10 cranks. If you feel a bite, wind through it. It's usually a smaller fish nipping at this little skirt that can't eat it. But what that does also is a predator fish or a bigger fish is going to want to take it out of its mouth, and that's when they eat it. So you want that little fish to kind of nip at this and create like that little feeding frenzy, or that, you know, that predator fish takes, it's like a bully, takes over and just takes it out of his mouth. So now you're covering the bottom, and then you're covering fish that are suspended versus fishing a dropper lid with 2 hooks. Another thing, fishing on a sport boat, you can, when the captain drops his anchor and you're sitting on it, everybody's dropped straight to the bottom. You get those eager ones right off the bat, then it slows down a little bit. You can go up to the bow, away from everybody, make a cast. They'll eat this on the sink, and they eat it on the retrieve, rigged this way. This way, tying it this way works well by jerking it. So what I like to do on this way, I'll just short little pumps, and just keep winding. You can go 20, 30, 50 feet. There's a lot of fish that have been suspended the last few years with all that red crab. There's a red color. That red crab suspends right over these rockfish spots. This thing's been a killer when there's red crab around. So instead of fishing just the bottom, now you're covering the zone where they're feeding. And this color's worked really well when there's red crabs. Yeah, I'll pass these around so you can take a look at them. There's other colors. I brought the ones that I use the most, so like the red crab, and then there's a glow in the dark color that works really, really well. I got like a bait fish color that works good. The only problem with this, it works too good. And what I mean by that, you catch mackerel on the way down, you catch bonito, you know, you catch everything. And then there's a fish that doesn't taste too good, salmon grouper, bacasio, and this thing's a killer for bacasio. You know, it's just a killer. But there's times when that anchovy sardine suspends over these rocky bottoms, and they eat the hell out of a chrome bait. So this one, I treat it like I start with this one and then stick to the other colors. So I'll hand this, I'll pass this around as well. Daiwa has done so well with this bait, it's called a rock rover, that they designed a rod just for this bait. This rod is a composite rod, fast action, but it's very limp. As you can see, so it's very limp. So even if you catch a lingcod, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, don't worry about it. It's only going to bend right there. It's not going to put the string all the way back here. It's going to keep it pegged because you got all this weight, but it's got this tether, so it's not going to shake the hook and spit it. This is going to act like a big shock absorber. It's called an elevate rod. They named it after like an elevator, like just bringing it up slowly. It acts like a giant shock absorber. They designed this rod just for the rock roller. There's 3 different rods, a medium heavy, and a heavy. Even though the heavy is still going to have a lot of action, the medium heavy and the heavy is what I use the most. And I fish these rods and reels up to 450 feet, the allowable depth. The other cool thing, fishing a bait caster. We don't, a level wine reel. You don't really need the big 30, 40, 50 size reels like we used to use back in the day. Go out there, have a good time. You only need like 40-pound braid. Daiwa makes this stuff called J braid. I use 40 to 50. 40 is my favorite for this type of lure. Real thin, real soft. This one has 8 layers versus other competitors that have 4 layers. So it's going to make it a little bit more abrasion resistant around rock. I don't know if most of you know, braid is not abrasion resistant at all. It breaks at, I mean, rocks, muscles, it'll break really quick. So this will have some kind of, a little bit more of an advantage for you. So J-Braid, I don't know what kind of deals they have today. What I like to do is a 2.5 to 3 foot leader. You don't need fluorocarbon. You could use 30 or 40 pound. This is Iser, you know, line of your choice. Daiwa does make this J fluoro that's been doing really well. Yesterday, here at the show, they sold 500 packs of this. It's 50 yards. 50 yards in the spool. At the show,
buy one, get one.
Buy one, get one free. So you basically, you know, you're going to come away with 100 yards of fluoro. So at this price, it's high fluoro, you know. If you do decide to get some of this fluoro, I got these little cards to pick up. You can buy yours at, let me see, I think
Turner's has them.
Turner's does have them, but also Angler's Choice has them. And if you buy with some of this fluoro, take this over to Daiwa, they'll give you another one. So basically, $7, $8 a spool. I mean, great deal. Oh yeah. Also, Angler's Choice is the only store here that has these Elevate rods. These Elevate rods sold out yesterday as well. They're the only ones that have them here. This is a very new product in Daiwa that just came out. Like I said, one of the product testers from Daiwa bought it with his own money, $20. If I wanted to buy one, I had to pay close to $30 to have it shipped over here. I don't know what they're doing, but Angler's Choice sold out of them yesterday. I know if you buy a rod, they'll give you like 3 or 4 of these baits. It's up to you guys. You don't necessarily need it, but it was designed just for this bait. They come, that's all I use. I have one of the first model rods, actually. Oh, it's that one. So this was the very first one that Daiwa developed. As you can see, they changed the colors on it. And we used them for 2 years, and we loved them. And they brought them in, no questions asked. And it's just something very new. It's different. I know it's awkward looking, but it works. The cool thing is, say for example, you're fishing 300 feet of water. Everybody's using 10 ounce torpedo seekers to get to the bottom. You don't need that. You don't have 2 hooks with squid, all that stuff on there that's going to slow it down. You don't need that. You can get away with 4 ounces. I fished 4 ounces all the way down to 450 feet. It drops down, and you might be 10 seconds late, but I guarantee you're going to catch more fish and bigger. Well, that's the good thing. These things come up to a 7 ounces. So, you know, you just adjust accordingly. Like I said, the cool thing about this is you've been playing around with a technique, and it's really simple to use. And like I said, just one, like less is more. In other words, just steady wind. You can free spool it back down. Steady wind. If you feel tap tap, don't swing. You do not want to swing. You don't want to hook that little guy. Just keep it going, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just your raw nose shank. So if you pin it sideways, and then you pinch it through the side of his nostril so it doesn't move. So this won't come around and catch. I have a few catalogs you could see. I didn't bring one of those, but I guess for tomorrow's seminar, I'll definitely bring one of those beads. It's one of these beads right here. They're soft beads. You could slide, and you could do this for tuna. Like if you're just nose hooking, I don't know if you guys ever fly line. Like you'll throw out, you get bit, you set the hook, you come back, and everything's chewed, you're gonna have a fish on it. What happened is this came back and caught the side of his either bill on the meat. But you can correct that with a little bit of that soft plastic bead. You run it through the shank, and then cinch it back to his nostril, so it's not gonna move. So now he's got between the barb and. So now you got between the barb and his nose, so it won't move. That's what we. Any questions? I don't want to lose anybody. No, everybody good? Yep. Okay, what kind of knot from? Okay, knots. I mean, whatever you're confident with. I always say, RP knot has been a great knot. Uni to uni is another good one. I always say start with the easiest ones. The RP one's really easy. Uni to uni is easy. An Albright knot is good and easy. If I had to recommend one, it would be the RP knot. But there's also, I mean, so many other knots. I mean, there's a Tony Pena knot. I mean, you know, sky's the limit. But FG knot's a great knot. That's a great knot. If you can learn the FG knot or the RP knot, I think those two, it'll serve for it.
What about glow or sense? I mean, I saw you put that in there.
Yeah, I do use a lot of scent. Yeah.
What about glow? Does glow do anything for the rockfish?
Yeah,
better?
glow does do a lot. You know, there's times that I found out that that baby octopus kind of moves into the shallows.
The one on this, yeah.
Yeah. So that baby octopus moves into the shallows as lingcod start feeding on it and stuff. So, I mean, look at this. I'm not, you know, it's dummy proof. I grabbed some of that octopus scent. I'm going to put it right there, put it on a rocky shoreline, and, you know, if you guys are lucky enough to go to, you know, like San Nicolas and those kind of places, I mean, you'll destroy them on a bait like this. Another jig that's been working pretty good. I'm still in the testing stage of it, but I've been doing pretty well with it. Daiwa SK jig, and if you guys have ever jigged for any kind of rockfish and stuff like that, they usually come like this or with a treble hook on the bottom. If you're fishing really rocky stuff and you want to be right on the bottom, say the fish are just stubborn, really close to the bottom, some of these assist style hooks will work really well. You can put them up here, take this stuff off, and then you avoid all that getting stuck. If this had a treble, like, you're just gonna get stuck and be miserable. You can put one of these on top here and right on the bottom. As soon as it hits the bottom, bring it up, hits the bottom, bring it up, and you're not gonna get stuck like you would with a treble hook. Angler's Choice does have a few of these, not many. I'm still like playing with this one right now as we speak. It's really cool. This one drops really fast, but it also catches. So when it's going down, depending on how it hits here, it'll come down and it'll do it like a shimmy, and it'll drop straight down and it'll do more of a shimmy. It's really weird how they designed this bait. As you can see, the weight's not even proportioned. It's like teardrop almost. And it's really weird because it drops like that, shimmies a little bit, catches and goes back down. It's really cool. I have been messing around with different hooks. This one's been working pretty good for me right now. I take this off, pin one up here, and then I don't get stuck, you know? Two, and just remember, this isn't like tuna that you can put as many as you want. Remember, it's a 2-hook limit, so don't get in trouble. I can't, just because it's one lure, I can't put another. If I were to put one of these on top, it's already illegal. That's 3 hooks. They consider it 3 hooks. So be careful. 2 hooks.
That's a Daiwa too?
No.
That jig?
Yeah, this is a Daiwa. It's called the SK jig. All these jigs are very, very new to their catalog. But I've been fishing, like I said, this one 2 years. This one I just started. And these come in different sizes too. They come up SKJ. Yeah, this SK, yeah. They didn't have them yesterday. They have some today, I heard. Like I said, the Rock Rover, they make them super small too. Like they make one that's 2.8 ounces. Now, I've used them. We first started fishing this color. We're fishing it for bass, calico bass, sand bass. We're killing it. Killing it. That's how it all came to be. Then we said, hey, let's try it for a rockfish. Kills it. And then that red crab came in, then the red one, they brought these in, and I mean, we're destroying everything. Sand bass in deep water. I mean, we're catching everything on this. I didn't get to catch a sea bass just because I never went up to the Channel Islands where they were catching them, but I'm pretty sure we could have caught sea bass on this color. As far as your bag limit, don't forget it's 10 rockfish. Canary rockfish is 3. They changed it up. They opened it up to 1. Now there's 3. Sheephead's 5. Don't forget sheephead is 5. You can keep 10 whitefish with your 10 rockfish, no more than 20 total. Be wary of that. One little thing I want to touch on. It's a little vague, but it's. I was talking to Fish and Game a little while ago, and they opened up 450. They call it the 75 fathom curve, so which is 450 feet. But it's really not necessarily so. So for example, I'll fish Marina del Rey a lot. There's GPS numbers and points. That's a 75 fathom curve, right? But some of that, I have to stay inside that line, in other words. But inside that line, some of it's 800 feet. So I was like, wait, so can I fish 800? He says, are you inside the 75 fathom line? Yeah, then you can. But if I go further up north of that line, it says that 75 fathom curve is in 320 feet. So if I'm in 400, it's illegal. I get a ticket. I say, well, can I get a brochure? Do they have something? No, they have nothing. There is a website. There is a website. You can find it. And just remember, if you have a private boat, wherever you're fishing, there is a line. It's called the 75 fathom curve on the coast, not the islands. The islands are going to let you fish 40 fathoms. It's 240 feet. On the coast, there's a 75 fathom curve, so just be worried that that line, it goes like this, no joke. From Oxnard to San Diego, it does this. It literally does this. And you have to stay within those parameters. Navionics, you could download it on your phone. It's, I don't know, 10 or 15 bucks a year, something like that. I recommend, if you have a private boat and you want to do it, I recommend you have it. You could punch in the numbers, and then it'll make a line for you. So even if you have your favorite spot or whatnot, you can stay within the boundaries so you don't get in trouble. And the only reason I found that out because some of my buddies that run party boats and stuff got boarded at Catalina Island, and he said, "Have you ever heard of the 75 fathom curve?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can fish 450." He goes, "Nope." Explain it to me. We called Fish and Game. You know, they gave us some information, but you talk to 10 wardens, you're gonna get 10 different answers. It's new, but they are enforcing it, so be careful. If you're on a party boat, by all means, you don't have to even worry about it. You know, they'll take care of it. What I did do before the season ended for Rockfish, it just started right now, March. I grabbed a bigger SK jig. I grabbed the silver one that was really good. This one here. Grabbed one of these and then put a little shrimp fly. This is what we used to use many years ago. I still tie these myself. I tie these little shrimp flies and stuff like that just because it's kind of like old school. This is how we used to fish. Put a little grub, and I'll put one of these SK jigs of any color. You know, I'll either fish like a bait fish color, or I'll pick like that orange one that's going around, I think. And what it does, or what I think it does, when you jigging this up, it acts like a predator fish eating a shrimp fly, a baby rockfish, or what have you. When you seem to move this, you'll catch the bigger fish on the little fly versus the bigger jig that you're jigging. Years ago, we used to use like diamond jigs like this. You know, we used to use multiple hooks, we used to do this. And same principle, but legally with 2 hooks, you can still have a ball. You don't have to use a bait. You want to put a little scent. You don't have to use a grub. You could fish like a little shrimp fly without the grub, and it acts like the shrimp that they're eating, the baby rockfish, the krill, whatever they're doing. and it mimics either a fish trying to eat this thing. For whatever reason, this catches the bigger fish versus the jig that's getting down at the bottom. What was that?
One single hook and then the fly.
Oh, yes, yeah. You would have to use a single. So what I do on that method, I'll take this off and I'll put like that Aki twist, like so. So just picture that, and you can put like an Aki twist right there, and then you got a big shrimp hook in case you hit something really big. Good question, thank you. Since I'm a bass fisherman, if you go to San Nicolas, Santa Barbara, Santa Rosa, all those islands and stuff, even way up north, I fish as far as up in Monterey Bay, and a big swim bait like that, make a cast. Like I said, the bait casters have really been my go-to. I'm a bass fisherman, like I said, but I didn't start off bass fishing. I fish with all that heavy stuff, and I'm having more fun with catching bigger fish on the lighter gear. I mean, like I said, even here you can fish 400 feet of water with 40-pound braid on this. Another cool bait that I've been fishing is a slug for big lingcod. When I want to catch a real big one, even a giant red, slug. MC makes the slug. He's over here 2 ounce, 3 ounce, depending on how deep you're fishing. This doesn't have a tail like this, so it doesn't act like a rudder, which is going to slow it down. This is still going to drop really fast. 30, 40-pound leader. Like I said, I mean, this fluorocarbon, hard to beat. Pretty much on this method, same thing. Cast, drop to the bottom. But what I like to do with the slug, I want to get that real aggressive bite. I'm going to tease them. So as soon as it hits the bottom, I'm going to split second. As soon as it hits the bottom, I'm going to wind as fast as I can. 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Free spool. And you'll be surprised. It hit the bottom, you didn't get bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 free spool, and he's going to yank that thing so hard. It's more like sometimes it's not like they're hungry, it's just an aggressive bite. Just lingcod are very, very aggressive. And depending on what time of the year, if they're spawning, if it lands in their nest, they're going to eat a big profile bait like this. So if you're out at some of those outer islands, want to get some of those bigger fish, these slugs, big swim bait like this, and you don't, with tackle like this, you don't need 10 ounces or 8 ounces to get to the bottom. You can have fun with something like this, and you're not going to feel overpowered by any of those fish. Any questions?
Weedless? You want it to be weedless?
Yeah. Oh, you don't have to do weedless.
No, just because that's what we had.
Yeah. It's just what I had.
You chopped your.
You can cut this off or fish it as it is. You know, either way. On this one, I cut it off. This is this one just came out. I've had it for 1.5 years, but they just released it. This Fred Hall. This is the new Win, the new Win right here. Yeah, the older Win had the little blue on it. This is the new stuff here. Yeah, I was fortunate. I get to fish the stuff like 1 year, 2 years before it comes out. But we run everything through the ringer. Last couple of years, I've been working with Daiwa with the research development guys. So it's been fun because I get to see like cool lures and you know, I'm not gonna lie. The first time when I see these things, I'm like, that's not gonna work because I'm so like stubborn and this is what works and that's what it is, right? Been catching rockfish all my life. That's what it is. But working with them, it's like, well, we have to go test it. We gotta go do this. And I'm like, that's not gonna work. And then it works. And I've been doing that even for my tournaments. Like, can we get some more of these before everybody else gets them? So it's been fun that I've been on the cutting edge, I guess, of new stuff. And it's been amazing. It's been really fun. I'm learning a lot, you know, and you know, that's what we want to help all you guys, you know, maybe change the way we look at rock fishing to really have a good time out there, you know, some light tackle. I mean, with this light tackle, they'll fight you 3/4 and not all the way up. You know what I mean? You know, it's not like 10 ounces. It's just like pretty much just killing them on the way up. You know, you're actually having fun, you know? Yes, sir. There he is, yes. yeah, shallow. And like I said, you can fish shallow or deep with this stuff. You know, it looks inferior. They might laugh at you in the beginning, not when you catch more fish than them, though. This one's gonna be this one's the extra heavy. Just be careful because these hooks are dangerously sharp. Another thing I wanted to share. So a couple years ago, when they brought that bait and those rods, Rockfishing was closed. So they wanted to test them. Like, well, we're gonna catch. Everything's closed. You know, it's winter. Well, we went sculpin fishing. So we use these red ones, dropping it down. I was, no kidding, catching 2 sculpin at a time and 250 feet of water. So like, how cool is that? Now I don't have to use 2 of 10 ounces, and I don't have to use 2 scampies. You know, because this has 2 hooks, and I was catching 2 sculpin at a time, big ones too. I mean, you can only keep 5. What's the rush, right? Have fun. Light gear, you know, they'll rattle all the way up. Yeah, I don't, like I said, those are the first stages when I started playing with it. Daiwa does make like a 5-to-1 on that 400, which you probably want, because the faster you go, these rockfish, when they come up, they'll spin. And if you go too fast, you'll spin them off. Because they're going around in a circle, and they'll spin off. And you'll lose them halfway and you'll be mad. So I recommend a little lower gear ratio, if you can get one. 6-5 or 6-to-1 is really good for rockfish. HD, yeah, Daiwa comes out with like reels like every 10 months. We're always constantly trying to make something better and better. You know, they started off with this one, which is a Win. Now they have a new one. I don't have the big one with me. No, I don't. This is a smaller version of this guy now. That's why these are being blown out at tournaments right now. What used to cost 2 something, or like 250, or like 1 something. Don't quote me. 150 something. Thank you, sir. So 150 something. Still a great reel. Still a great reel. I'm still using them. This is a 7-to-1 also. They go up to an 8-to-1 too. But I do have a slower gear ratio. It's just 7-to-1 is all around. So this one you can use for a lot of other things. I mean, I'll take this reel off this rod. I'll surface iron. Cold sniper, you know what I mean? A little one, you know, catch my tuna. 7-to-1. I mean, surface iron rod, 7-to-1. No, that's exactly what I'm using 7-to-1. Just because I'm so used to it. Yeah, I just have to. I'm so used to it now. I calm myself down when I hook a fish. Just easy. But it's real easy if you're not used to it. You get so excited, like, I got him. He's coming in, and then you forget you have a 7-to-1 gear ratio, you know? When we first, years ago, 30, 40 years ago, I mean, they're fishing 3-to-1 gear ratio. You know, it's taking you 30 minutes to wind up from the bottom, right? Dacron line, super slow. Technology now, with the braided lines, you don't need those big reels no more. You don't need a 30 or 40 size reel. You can get away with this and have a ball, and you can have a lot more fun, you know, not overpowering the fish, you know. Half the time when you got 10 or 12 or 16 ounces and 2 hooks, I think I got one. I mean, 400 feet, and you're whining, and sometimes you don't even know. You can. Oh, you can, yeah. You know, so just know when you buy them, they do have like a little rigging chart on the back. If you want to slow pitch it, like slow crank it, where to tie it, and then the straight retrieve one. The straight retrieve is the one that I like the most. That's the one I've done the best. And that's this one. Tied right at the tip. I have, yeah. The smaller one in this red crab at Iser's Reef, killing it. Killing it. I wrote on it, that one's for jerking, tied there, and this one's for slow winding. So basically it's like you get 2 jigs in one, because it does 2 different, you know, yeah. Yeah, straight down and just jerk it. You want to wind and jerk, like a pump pump and go, put it back down, pump it, and then remember, on that method, you're going to get bit jerking it, and then when you free spool it back. This one is more of a straight wind until he eats it. But the technique on this one is, when the little guy comes in and starts nipping at it, get ready, because the big one, that's when he comes and eats it. You don't get bit, 10, 15, 20, 30 cranks. A lot of times the captains, hey, some of you guys might want to wind up 30 cranks. I got a meter mark up top. Guess what? That's when you're going to excel on the rock rover. Pretty much out of time. If you guys have a few questions, I got about 3-4 minutes. Yeah, right up. There's a few of these rods here available. Like I said, it's so new. We didn't think we would do that good the first day. Angler's Choice is the only guy that has the rods, and they're doing a deal. I don't know exactly what price, but I know he's given like 3 or 4 of these jigs. Don't quote me, but I know he's given like minimum 3. If you buy a rod, if not, the Rock Rovers are over there. He's the only guy that has these. Yes, Angler's Choice. They're somewhere over there, like 3 hours that way down. The Floral, this J Floral, Turners, Angler's Choice has them. If you don't want to wait in that big line of Turners, buy one. Take one of these to Daiwa, and they'll give you another spool. Can't beat that. I mean, yeah, Angler's Choice is the only one that has a rock rubber. Yes, sir. And yes. So, and the reel. No. Yeah. But thank you guys. Take my samples here.